This TV and this thing. Oh, come on. Don't. No, you don't.
Hi, and welcome to Theology of Games Visual. Today is our first ever video preview of a game, and we're really excited to be bringing this to you. My name is Jeremiah Isley. I am one of the co-writers of theologyofgames.com. It's a blog about gaming news and reviews and interviews with the top voices in the gaming world. We are looking today at Ancient Terrible Things. This is a dice rolling game by Pleasant Company Games. It's being kickstarted right now by Springboard, which is the program that is powered by Game Salute. It's for 2 to 4 players. It's a dice roller that's kind of set in this pulp horror sort of setting, and it's kind of light with the dice rolling, but there's a lot of card management, resource management aspects to it that kind of gives it some layers. So we're going to take a look at it right now. Okay, we're just going to take a quick look at all the components and the game board and all the pieces parts that come in the box. Again, this is a preview version of the game, which means all of these parts are prototype stage stuff. So none of the artwork is 100% complete. Many of the cards and images are nearly complete, but as you can see, some just still aren't. So here's the game board. It's divided into 6 different areas. There are 6 locations on either side of the river here that runs in the middle. Players will select a game token for their character, for their adventurer that is going to defeat these terrible things. And they'll start here by the riverboat. They'll end their turn by returning to the trading post, where they can buy swag, which is basically items or artifacts, things that will help them either during their turn by affecting their dice rolls, or will help them at the end of the game by giving them some bonus points and that sort of thing. Along the right here is a terrible thing track. Or they call it the expedition track. If you fail to defeat your encounter as you go through your turn, you will collect one of these. These are terrible thing tokens, and they will go into your score pile, and they will give you negative points. So don't fail and don't lose these, or don't get these, because you don't want that to happen. If these tokens run out, then the game is over. And that number of tokens that's in play is scaled depending on how many players, whether it's 2, 3, or 4. There's a different amount of tokens that go on that track. Likewise, over here in the ominous encounter deck, there is a scalable number of these. You'll remove a certain amount depending on the number of players. And you'll notice as you go through the deck that the colors change and become more intense. This signifies that the encounters that you'll be facing get more intense and more difficult to defeat and collect the points. This is your feat deck. And these feat cards are the cards that you will hold in your hand. You'll start with 3 feat cards, and they'll allow you to do various things, most of which will be to affect your dice rolls or re-roll dice, but they'll also allow you to make your opponents discard cards or tokens, or give you tokens, which is even better. So these are important to the game as well. Now, let's take a look at the tokens real quick. This here is a focus token, and it'll allow you to re-roll a specific die during your turn. We'll talk a little bit about the dice rolling mechanic in just a minute, but you'll need these if you're going to be doing any specific re-rolling. These are treasure tokens. They allow you to buy the swag and the trading post. And you can see right there that there is a dollar amount set to this card. So you'll have to trade in that many tokens for that card. Pretty straightforward. And again, these are feat tokens, and here's a feat card again. You can have as many of these cards in your hand as you like. However, you can't play them unless you have a feat token to pay the cost that's marked on them as well. So like I said, there's a little bit of resource management that comes into the game, because you not only are trying to roll dice, but if you're trying to give yourself a better chance of making the rolls that you want, you're going to have some resources handy to do that. And lastly, these are the courage tokens. You'll notice here on each of these locations there's an encounter card already placed there. That's part of the setup of the game. And these cards have a courage number on them. So if you want to defeat the bad egg, you either have to get the roll down here, which we'll talk about again in just a second, or you can simply pay 3 courage tokens and collect that card. Now this is great because your courage token, the amount here, is also your victory point. And so at the end of the game, you'll add up the number of victory points that you have, and those will give you, and that's how you determine the winner. Just a few more things to go. There is the map. The map is essentially a first player token. You use that to determine who gets to go first during each round. Also, there's a little bonus. If you have it at the end of the game, then you get an extra victory point. So that's a nice little touch to make the map even just a little more important. There's a scenario card, and it's double-sided. There's scenario 1 as well as scenario 2. And these will allow you to cash in dice that you've rolled for more resources. So 2 makes it a little tougher to get some of the resources, whereas 1 is a little more of a beginner's game, but they're both fairly close in the difficulty of what it takes to get some of the resources. And then there's, the obligatory reference card, which will allow you to understand a few things on the board as sort of a quick reference as you play. All right, that is the pieces, parts, and components. Let's take a look at the gameplay. All right, so real quick, we're going to take a look at the gameplay and what a player turn looks like. Players take turns in rounds. Each player takes their turn independently of all the other players. You'll see over here, players all start in the riverboat, as I said before. They'll select a location to travel to and an encounter to face. Once they face that encounter, whether they succeed or fail, they will return to the boathouse, the trading post, and there they can buy swag and items, which are shown here in a lineup of 3 cards that they can choose from. And that concludes their turn. Once all players have returned to the trading post, that concludes the round. They all go back into the riverboat, and again, the player who has the map will get to go first again. So let's take a look at what they do when they are going to encounter these different areas and the ancient terrible things that are dwelling there. So as you can see, there are, like I said, the 6 areas on the board that you can travel to, and so you'll decide where you want to go. When you travel there, you'll gain a token here. You'll see each of these cards has an icon on them that lists the type of bonus that will be placed with them as part of the setup for each round. So you'll collect that token, and then you'll look at the card here, and you'll decide how you want to go about defeating this. You can either spend 3 of your courage tokens to defeat this card and collect it. This will give you 3 points at the end of the game. This card would just go into your score pile. Or you can decide to roll the dice. Now let's talk about the dice for a second, because it's a dice rolling game, so they're kind of important. You'll start with 5 dice on your turn, and you, like most dice rollers, you'll get a chance to re-roll your dice. However, if you're going to re-roll 1 die, you're going to re-roll all of them. So on the card here, it tells you what you need to roll to defeat this card. And here it says, in this very fine print, it says a 3 of a kind, 2s or higher. And you'll notice on the artwork, it actually shows 2 pips on each die, which indicates 3 of a kind and 2 or higher. So the artwork there is not just for flavor, but it actually gives you a little instruction on how you're going to defeat this card. So like I said, you're going to roll all 5 of your dice, and you're going to try to make that work. Now, say you get really, really close on something that's a little more difficult, like up here we've got a card that requires all 5 of your die to be showing 4 or higher. So you're going to get really close, like this roll is actually really close, but I don't want to re-roll all of those dice because that's a hard roll to get. This is where your focus tokens come in. You can spend 1 focus token, and instead of re-rolling everything, you can just re-roll the 1 die. If you wanted to re-roll 2, you'd spend 2 tokens. So you could take this, you could spin that, and then re-roll it again, and there you've made your roll. I want to show you quickly, though, back to this example. If you're trying to get your 3 of a kind, and say we've done that here with our 3 4s, you can then use the extra dice that you have rolled, and you'll remember the scenario card that we talked about earlier. You can cash these in by matching up the requirements here and getting some extra resources that you can use on turns later. Now, if you fail and you don't make your roll, here's what happens. First of all, this card goes over into an area on the corner of the board here called the Captain's Journal, and then you'll gain one of these ancient terrible things, one of these terrible thing tokens. These are all, again, they start off, they're actually worth no points, not even negative points, and then they move up to a single point, 2 points, and then of course 3 points, and these are all negative points that go against you at the end of the game. And so you'll gain one of those, and then this slot will be left empty until the beginning of a round when there are no more cards available. At that point you would deal again, and the first player who has the map gets to go again. One other thing is when you select an area to go to, there are special abilities on each of these areas that are actually printed onto the board. So you'll take your token, and then you'll get to activate that special ability. Some of them are pretty cool. Up here, this allows you to choose another card on the board and use courage tokens to purchase that card, and you would still get to face this encounter. So essentially, if everything goes right, you could get 2 cards on 1 turn. If you go down here, this allows you to take the map from the player who currently has it. So that's a really cool thing. Again, these cards will be dealt out once they're all gone. We've talked about feat cards. You can also play your feat cards during your turn as long as you have your feat tokens. So you'll see these allow you to kind of change some rolls, maybe take some tokens from your opponents, swap cards, that kind of things. You can have as many of these in your hand as you like, but you have to be able to pay the token cost that's listed on them. So if you don't have a feat token, it doesn't matter what's in your hand. You don't have the resources to use it. The last thing we're going to talk about are the 2 special dice, the yellow luck die and the red desperation die. Like I said, these dice don't show up in your normal roll unless you buy a swag card, which you can do once you've returned to the trading post at the end of your turn. You can spend money to purchase these, and you'll see here the camera allows you to trade one of your green die for the luck die. Why would you do that? Well, the luck die is special. It doesn't cost a focus token to re-roll. So you can roll whatever you have and then decide, I just want to re-roll 1 because I'm really close to making my goal. And you could do that with the luck die without spending any of your tokens. The desperation die, also added in by a few different cards, is the opposite. You don't get to re-roll it. You roll it out there and it stays locked in for all of your re-rolls. So it may not be very helpful, but it may also be helpful just because it's an extra die that's on the table. That is the quick look at the gameplay. Once again, all of the terrible thing tokens are removed, then the game is over. or once all of the feat cards have been dealt, the game is over then. So there's a quick look at the game Ancient Terrible Things. I enjoyed the game. I look at dice roller games as kind of a different bridge or gateway kind of game into the hobby. It's easy to learn. It's easy to teach. A lot of people get dice rolling. This one's a little deeper because of some of the resource management and hand management that comes along with the feat cards and all the different types of tokens. One thing that we found a little confusing in some of our gameplays was some of the terminology with unlocking the ancient secrets and the ancient terrible things and collecting the terrible thing points. Some of it just kind of got a little confusing, so we started calling them victory points and negative points and so forth. The game feel and the theme is very well done. Again, from what we can tell with the incomplete artwork, the artwork is very stylized and very kind of hip and very gritty, which seems to work well for the genre and the theme that they're going for in the game. I wouldn't recommend this as a kid's game, or maybe not even a family game unless your kids are a little older. Some of the cards, not that there's anything gruesome or terribly gory on them, but they're just a little bit intense at times for younger kids. I won't play this with my 7 or my 5-year-old, but if your kids are a little younger, a little older, they would probably be into it. I don't know if I would say this is necessarily a youth group game or a church group game either. Again, the theme is a little on the campy side, but there's a little intensity there that might be misinterpreted by certain folks. Definitely a gamer's game, and like I said, definitely a gateway casual gamer kind of game for folks who enjoy rolling dice. If you're into luck and trying to sort of work the luck of a game, then this is a good game for that type of a game experience. So those are my thoughts on Ancient Terrible Things. I want to thank Game Salute for providing us with this prototype copy, and we really appreciate that, and we appreciate you viewing these videos, and we would love to hear your thoughts. If you're going to back this game, if you haven't, if you have, please let us know. Just leave them in the comments. We'd love for you to subscribe, and we will see you next time here on Theology of Games Visual. All right, I have a better one in me.